I paid every bill while my husband looked for work. For 14 months I worked double shifts. Then one Friday, my card got declined. I checked our account, empty. I ran home to find him gone. Only a note on the table, I took what I earned. Don't look for me. But when I tracked the charges, I found something that made my blood run cold. We moved to Des Moines after Craig got fired. He blamed everyone but himself, his boss, the market, office politics. I should have known right then. But I wanted to believe him. I thought he just needed a clean slate. He said he'd find work fast, that he just needed a break from the pressure. I told him I'd support us for a little while. The little while turned into over a year. I took extra shifts at the hospital. Sometimes I worked 3 days straight, only sleeping 4 hours between shifts. There were nights I cried in the break room, exhausted beyond words. My feet always hurt. My back hurt. Everything hurt. I told Craig we'd be okay, that I trusted him. He kept saying he was networking, applying for jobs, working on freelance consulting. But every time I came home, he was playing video games or watching streams. He never looked tired. Never looked stressed. I stopped asking about job interviews because he'd get annoyed or go quiet. He never offered to pay for groceries. Never filled the gas tank. He wouldn't even fold laundry. At first, I told myself I was being too harsh. Depression is real, right? I tried to be patient. But month after month went by. No job. No income. Just me working until I felt like a ghost. The turning point was a Friday in early October. I'd just pulled a 14-hour shift. I wanted to get groceries and maybe a cheap bottle of wine. Nothing fancy, just something to make me feel like a human being. My card got declined. Twice. I used my backup credit card. Then I went outside, sat in the car, and opened the banking app. The checking account was empty. We'd had over $19,000 saved. Every bit of it was gone. I thought it was fraud. Maybe our account got hacked. I drove home in a panic. The driveway was empty, but I didn't think much of it yet. Maybe he went to visit a friend? When I walked in the front door, the silence hit me like a wall. No shoes by the door. No jacket on the hook. The house felt hollow. I went to the bedroom. Half the closet was empty. His suitcase was gone. His laptop. His Xbox. A few drawers had been pulled open and left that way. He left in a rush. Then I saw the envelope on the kitchen table. He didn't even fold the note, just scrawled a few words on the back of a pizza coupon. I took what I earned. Don't look for me. That was it. No goodbye. No apology. Just that. I sat at the table staring at the note. My hands were shaking. I couldn't think straight. I wanted to scream but I couldn't even breathe. Eventually, I opened the app again and started going through the transactions. The first ones didn't surprise me: Amazon, Steam, hotel rooms. But then I saw it. A charge from Gold Blossom OBGYN. Then another from the same place. Then labs. Ultrasounds. A pharmacy. He hadn't just run off. He'd gotten another woman pregnant. And he was spending my money to take care of her. I froze. My hands went numb. I kept staring at that screen, trying to convince myself it wasn't real. But it was. He took everything. And he didn't even have the decency to lie about it. That night, I didn't sleep. I sat on the couch, phone in my hand, tracking every charge. I wrote it all down. Every date. Every amount. Every clue. I was done being the fool. He thought he could disappear? That I'd just let it go? No. I was going to find him. And I was going to make sure he paid. I started with the OBGYN clinic. Gold Blossom was in Kansas City, Missouri. A 4-hour drive from Des Moines. Not far enough to disappear, Craig. I called them, pretending I was a billing rep from an insurance company, needing to verify charges. They gave me just enough info to confirm what I already knew. A woman named Sabrina Ellis was the patient. The services were for prenatal care. I asked, casually, if Sabrina had listed an emergency contact. She had. Craig. Full name. His phone number. His email. I hung up and felt my stomach drop again. I knew that name. I'd seen it before. Sabrina was one of Craig's friends from his old job in Chicago. He told me she got fired for trying to sue the company. I even remembered comforting him when he said she was a drama magnet. Guess she wasn't too dramatic to sleep with behind my back. I searched her online. Found her Instagram. Private, but the profile pic said enough, her holding her belly with Craig's arm around her. He was wearing the jacket I bought him for our 3rd anniversary. I wanted to drive straight there and knock on their door, but I knew that wouldn't get me anywhere. I needed to be smart. Quiet. Precise. First, I called my bank and reported the charges. Then I froze the account. I filed a police report for theft. Not that I thought they'd chase him down, but I wanted it documented. I checked the hotel charges next. A small extended stay place near downtown Kansas City. I called pretending to be his wife, which I still was, technically. Asking if he'd left anything behind. The woman at the desk told me Craig was still checked in. Room 212. I didn't even pack. I just got in the car and drove. When I got there, it was dark. I parked across the street and waited. Around 8 p.m., I saw him walk out of the lobby. Same lazy walk. Same smug look on his face. But now he had a belly to rub. Sabrina waddled out behind him. Very pregnant. She looked tired. He looked happy. I couldn't believe it. He hadn't just run off. He'd traded me in. He took everything I gave him and built a brand new life with someone else. And he didn't even try to hide it. I didn't go to him that night. I went to a motel and made some calls. Next morning, I called my friend Becca, a lawyer. I told her everything. She said I had a solid case for marital fraud, especially since we were still legally married and he used shared funds for another relationship. She told me to wait on filing for divorce. We can use this, she said. I asked what she meant. She told me if we filed now, while he was still lying and hiding, we could get everything on record. The longer he pretended he wasn't married, the more evidence I'd have. It clicked. I could make this worse for him. So I stayed in Kansas City. Quietly. I found a short-term rental near the hotel and watched. Every day I took notes. I took photos. I tracked where they went, what they bought, how far along Sabrina was. I even followed Craig to a part-time job he got. Managing books at a car dealership. That was rich. Suddenly he could work. After a week, I filed the paperwork. Froze every shared asset. Put a lien on our joint property. Reported his new income. And then, with the help of my lawyer, I served him. Right there in the hotel parking lot. I walked up, handed him the envelope, and said, "This is what you earned." He looked stunned. Then angry. Sabrina looked confused. I didn't wait for them to speak. I turned and walked away. But that was just the beginning. The next few weeks were a whirlwind. Craig tried to call. Text. Email. I ignored every one. Then he got bold, he showed up at my rental. Banged on the door like a lunatic. "I just want to talk," he yelled. "We can fix this." I didn't open the door. I filmed everything through the peephole and sent it to Becca. It helped my case. Showed his temper. Showed how unhinged he could get when things didn't go his way. A week after that, Sabrina messaged me. Yes. She messaged me. Said she had no idea Craig was still married. Said he told her we were divorced. That I'd stolen from him and he was starting fresh. She said he claimed I was crazy and abusive, and that I took advantage of him financially. I didn't reply right away. I needed time to breathe. Process. But then she sent another message. This one included something that made my skin crawl. She said, I didn't know about the other girl either. I blinked. Reread the sentence. What other girl? I asked. She told me Craig had been leaving for hours at a time, said he was job hunting. But she found receipts in his backpack. Dinner for two. A hotel in Overland Park. A receipt from a baby store, dated 2 months before he even told her she was pregnant. This wasn't just a two-timer. Craig had another woman. Another affair. Maybe another kid. I asked her to send the receipts. She did. Then she offered to help me. That's when the idea hit me. We weren't rivals. We were victims. I called Sabrina. I asked her to meet for coffee. We talked for hours. She showed me everything, texts, voicemails, Craig's half-truths, and promises. He told her I had bled him dry, that he was building something real with her. We came up with a plan. I told her to keep playing along. Act like nothing changed. I needed him off guard. Sabrina agreed. He deserves to rot, she said. Meanwhile, I hired a private investigator. Cost me a chunk, but it was worth it. What he found made everything worse. Craig wasn't just seeing someone else. He had an online business, under a fake name, where he gave out financial advice to desperate people. He charged them for investment packages that didn't exist. He scammed people while I worked double shifts. We gathered proof. Screenshots. Emails. Payment logs. He'd hidden it under a shell company, but we tracked it back to him. Becca nearly laughed when she saw the files. He's going to prison if this goes public. I didn't want prison. Not yet. I wanted him to sweat. To squirm. To feel just a taste of what I went through. So I leaked it. Anonymous posts. Emails to his clients. Messages to local news tips. I made sure the heat started slowly. Just enough to ruin his business, freeze his PayPal accounts, alert the IRS. Then I made one last move. I messaged the third woman. And what she told me changed everything. Her name was Rachel. She lived in Overland Park, Kansas. She answered my message with hesitation, like she wasn't sure if I was real. Once she realized I wasn't lying or crazy, she opened up. She said she met Craig on a finance forum. He told her he was a widower. Said his wife had died in a car crash. Said he was raising a baby girl on his own. He showed her pictures of me, but told her I was his late wife. He used my face to win her sympathy. I thought I had no more shock left in me. But that wrecked me in a new way. Not just betrayal. Not just money. He'd erased me. Rewritten my life to use it like a prop. Rachel was furious. She had no idea he was involved with anyone else, let alone 2 pregnant women. She asked if she could help. I said yes. We planned it out. Rachel invited him to a romantic weekend at a cabin she rented outside the city. I paid for the rental under my name, on purpose. I wanted it tied back to me. Sabrina told Craig she had a doctor's appointment that day. He didn't even hesitate. Told her he was meeting a friend for lunch. Packed a bag, kissed her on the forehead, and left. I followed him. I waited outside the cabin. When he walked in, Rachel greeted him with a drink. A smile. She played the part. 10 minutes later, I knocked on the door. He opened it, still holding the wine glass. When he saw me, he froze. His mouth fell open like he forgot how to talk. Behind him, Sabrina walked in through the back door. He turned around and saw both of them. Sabrina, pregnant and stone-faced, and Rachel, now holding her phone, recording everything. He backed up like a trapped animal. "What is this?" he asked, eyes darting. What are you doing here?" "Watching," I said. "Like I have been." "For weeks." Sabrina tossed a folder on the table. Legal papers. Copies of the bank fraud reports. IRS notices. Even the business license he forged. Rachel stepped closer. "You lied about everything." "Even her," she said, pointing to me. "You said she was dead." His face turned white. "You ruined 3 lives," I said. 4, if you count the baby. He tried to speak. Tried to spin it. But none of us cared. I reached into my purse and pulled out the last surprise, his mother's old necklace. The one he claimed got stolen so he could get insurance money. I found it in Sabrina's apartment. "You told me you cried for days when this was taken," I said. "Turns out, you sold it. To buy a weekend with Rachel." He was done. He didn't cry. Didn't scream. He just crumpled. Sat down on the couch like all the strength drained out of him. We left him there. 3 weeks later, I filed for divorce and handed everything to my lawyer and the IRS. Sabrina pressed charges for fraud. Rachel gave a full statement about the fake investment scam. Craig lost everything. He's now under investigation by the IRS, facing criminal charges for wire fraud and identity theft. He'll likely do time. I sold the house. Moved out of Iowa. Started over in Colorado. Got a small place. I still work as a nurse, but fewer hours now. I take walks. I read books again. I sleep through the night. Sabrina had her baby. A little girl. I sent her a gift, no return address. Just a card that said, "You're stronger than you know." Rachel is in therapy, and we talk sometimes. I made a lot of mistakes, trusting too long, ignoring red flags, working myself into the ground for someone who saw me as nothing more than a wallet. But I didn't let it destroy me. I burned it all down. And I walked away from the fire.